Hello and welcome back to Morrissey and Wine. My name is George. I'm a newspaper journalist based in the East Midlands of the UK. And this is Chris.
I'm Chris. I'm based in Manchester, working in social housing.
And we're both very big Morrissey and Smiths fans. Now, if you love Morrissey and Smiths, this is the podcast for you. So we spend about an hour and 20 talking all things Morrissey and the Smiths. It's a chance to have a sort of slow, considered conversation about the lyrics, the man, the music, and all the people associated with the world of Morrissey. We always have a bottle of wine.
We do.
What have we got this time, Chris?
This time we have the Governor.
The Governor.
Prosecco. Or not a Prosecco, it's a Spanish sparkling wine.
Okay.
Spanish, yeah.
Well, do you want to open that up and I'll let everyone know what we've got coming up on this episode?
Sure.
So we nearly always have a guest, and this time we've got Danny Marsh from the Star Garter in Manchester. Now, there will be a lot of you who know all about the Star Garter because you're based in the UK, or even as Chris's friend does, sometimes comes from Germany to visit the Star Garter.
Yes, yeah, people do, don't they?
Yeah, people do come from all over the world. But the Star Garter is a venue in Manchester where they have a monthly Morrissey and Smiths Disco, and they've been doing that for decades. Danny has been there for a long time, and we want to talk to him, how have Morrissey and Smiths fans changed over the years? How important is the music of Morrissey and the Smiths to the venue? What does he think about Morrissey and the Smiths? Because we presume that he likes the music and the people, but we don't know. So we're going to talk to Danny. We always have a quiz. This time I am asking the questions of Chris.
How did you do last time, George?
I got 5 out of 10 last time. Thank you, by the way. 5 out of 10 last time. Sometimes they're really hard, sometimes they're easy. So anyway, this time I'm quizzing Chris. We've got my grandma, Nanny Val. She comes on every month to react to a Smiths or Morrissey track. Our Patreon subscribers suggest the songs for her to react to, and she chooses one. So she's going to be coming into the studio in a bit.
Excited for that. And then finally, we're going to analyse the lyrics of We Hate It When Our Friends Become Successful.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. So we'll have a 10 or 15 minute chat about that song, go into the lyrics, what they mean to us, what they meant to Morrissey. So let's talk a little about this wine. So it's Prosecco.
It's Spanish sparkling.
Oh, it's not actually Prosecco because it's not from wherever they make Prosecco.
Prosecco, Italy. So
Okay.
Yeah. Do you want to get there's some notes there?
Well, let me just have a little taste first. That's lovely. It's quite dry. Yes, I do have some tasting notes. So let me grab those.
It does say extra dry on the bottle, yeah. So
yeah.
Well done for picking that up.
So Governor Sparkling, it says Governor wines break the winemaking rules to bring you plenty of flavour at great value. So Governor, I think they're quite popular for their red wine.
Yeah.
It says here, like the Governor Red, this sparkling wine is made from a number of Spain's most popular regions. So expect aromas of blossom, vanilla, stone fruit and citrus flavours and a deliciously creamy finish.
Lovely.
You like a creamy finish, don't you?
Thank you, George. No, I do love Spanish wine though, so...
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers.
Okay, so we're going to go straight into the quiz. As I said, this time I'm quizzing Chris. So let's see how you do.
Let's.
Cheers. Thanks for joining us.
So it's time for George to quiz me this time.
Yes. So I have scanned the Mozzopedia. Mozzopedia, a fantastic book, if you don't have it, by the way, Encyclopedia of Morrissey and the Smiths by Simon Goddard. I have scanned the Mozzopedia and I have extracted with my tweezers 10 questions.
Is that my Mozzopedia? You've still stolen mine.
No, I've got a digital copy on my laptop. I don't know where my Mozzopedia went. I think you nicked it.
I lost mine too. So
have you?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I think there's a Mozzopedia thief somewhere.
Okay, so 10 questions. Shall we start with the quiz theme, music?
You're still going to abstain from singing?
Yeah, because I'm embarrassed because one person said that...
Yeah, but last time you got tempted and at the end you couldn't help yourself, could you?
No. Okay, let's listen to the music. Okay. The quiz theme. This is the quiz. This is the quiz. You're gonna win this quiz. Are you any good at trivia? We will find out now because it's time for 10 questions to test your mettle. Do you like my singing? No, but never mind, because it's time to find out who's the best Moz fan. Probably me.
Well, you did only get 5 last time, so half.
I did only get 5.
Which isn't too bad because you got a couple of the hard ones, I think, right?
Yeah. Well, I know it's funny what you remember and what you don't. Now, if you're a Patreon subscriber, then you'll be in our WhatsApp chat with about 100 other fans. Let us know how you do with the quiz this time. See if you beat Chris. So let's start with question 1. Who did Morrissey originally write "Let Me Kiss You" for? Let Me Kiss You for.
So I know it's one because she also covered it
Mhm.
afterwards. So it's Nancy Sinatra.
Nancy Sinatra, correct. And we have some sound effects.
Yes.
Okay. Question 2. What was the name of the VHS music video compilation released in November 1992?
Is it like a black video, isn't it? The case is sort of quite dark in colour, I
I
think.
suppose so, yeah.
Is it the... Because I've got the one from the Smiths, which is the orange one. That's a humorist. This is
No, I don't think Humorous was the Smiths.
Is it?
I think that
Oh,
was
you're
Solo.
right. Sorry, you're right. Yeah. The melody lingers on.
No, sorry, exactly what is it? Say it again.
The melody lingers on.
Wrong.
That is right. What's wrong?
No, it's The Malady Lingers On.
Oh, the melody.
Yeah, it's a
Oh.
pun, isn't it? Morrissey loves a pun.
Oh, sorry.
So you're very close, but I can't give you that. So
That is cruel.
well, the whole point of it is that it's a pun, right? So,
Okay, so that's true, actually. Yeah.
So that is wrong.
So what's the point in humorist then?
Hume is
Yeah,
based
okay,
in
yeah,
Manchester, isn't it? Yeah. So that's 1 out of 2 so far.
Okay.
Question number 3. Who did Morrissey call, quote, the greatest lyricist that has ever lived?
I guess it would. I don't remember the quote. Would it be Joni Mitchell?
Would it be Joni Mitchell?
Yes.
Correct. Yes, indeed. I love Joni Mitchell. But
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
it's the thing is with Joni Mitchell, I know that she is amazing and but I only sort of know a few of her songs. So there's a whole catalogue there for me to get into, you know.
Yeah, keep you busy.
Keep me busy, yeah. Keep me off the streets. Question number 4. So you've got 2 out of 3 so far. I'm wrong. Question 4. What was the name of the original singer of No One Can Hold a Candle to You, which Morrissey covered? The original singer.
I think I'm only going to get half of this question right.
Well, there's no half points.
I really like the song. Actually,
Yeah.
It's one of my favourite Morrissey covers.
Yeah,
Their surname is it someone Maker?
maybe. So do you want to have a guess at the first name?
James Maker,
Is it James Maker?
or is it not? Is it John? Oh, okay.
Correct.
Thank you.
So 3 out of 4 correct so far. Very good.
3 out of 4. So I've got 3 so far.
Oh, no, have you? Yeah, you got the first one right. You didn't get the second one. You got the third one and you got the fourth one. So,
Okay.
yeah, 3 out of 4.
Okay. Cool.
Question number 5. How do you say Stephen in Spanish?
I'm not going to try. I don't know. I wasn't very good at Spanish. I love Spanish. I love Spain.
Well,
names are what?
I'm not just asking you as a language sort of quiz. There is a thing that Morrissey released which says the name in Spanish in it.
I think it begins. It's like begins with ES, isn't it? S.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
Right. Well, unfortunately, you cannot have that point.
What was it?
The answer is Esteban.
Esteban. Okay.
Because he released Oye Esteban in October 2000, and that means Hey Stephen.
Oh, okay. Okay. I should know that.
So question number 6. Who produced the 2006 album Ringleader of the Tormentors?
That was Tony Visconti.
Was it Tony Visconti? Yes,
Thank you.
it was.
So how many is that? Because we had some feedback from Nanny Val, didn't we? That we have to keep on track of it.
Yeah. Nan said she's going to buy us an abacus. So we
Oh,
can,
great. Okay.
move it.
That's
Right.
nice.
So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 out of 6 so far.
Okay.
Question number 7. A studio outtake from Viva Hate was called Safe Warm What Home?
Safe, warm Lancashire home.
Safe Warm Lancashire Home
Yeah, that's
is correct.
easy one.
Okay. So that is 5 out of 7 now.
Yeah, so I'm equal to you now. So anything better than this, anything more than this, I've beat George from last month. So that's all that matters, isn't it?
Yeah, 5 out of 7. Okay, question number 8. Who is rumoured to have at least partly inspired the name The Smiths?
Oh, I don't know this one.
Well, think about it logically, because the name is The Smiths. So you would, if someone's inspired the name, they might share some similarities with that.
The Smiths, I don't know. I'm not going to get this one, I don't think.
Okay. Have you got it at home? Chris got that wrong. The answer, according to early bassist Dale Hibbert, was Patti Smith. Because Johnny and Morrissey both really loved Patti Smith. So there's a suggestion that they may have called themselves the Smiths, not just because it was a
generic name, the most generic name in England at the time anyway.
Yes, but also possibly a little nod to Patti Smith.
Okay. Didn't know that much.
Yeah. So you've still got 5 points. We're now on question 9.
Okay.
Can you name one of the Smiths songs that Morrissey performed at his first solo live gig in Wolverhampton?
Yes, there's a really good video on YouTube. And Sweet and Tender Hooligans was played there.
Yes, absolutely right.
Was there any others that you noted?
Yeah, so there were 2 others that I've got written down. Stop me if you think that you've heard this one before. And Death at One's Elbow.
Yes, and the Death at One's Elbow was...
So that is 6 questions correct so far.
So what does that mean?
That you beat me last time.
Okay,
from last time.
Good. That's all that matters.
Question number...
I'm better than you and cleverer than you.
Well, in some ways, but not in sort of real ways that matter. Or in any way.
Knowing about Morrissey is a real way that matters.
Yeah.
Who cares I haven't got a degree in philosophy?
Yeah. Well, you will do soon because you're doing PPE, right?
Yeah, true. Yeah, but I only got a third of it, this philosophy.
Yeah. Question number 10. Which high street stationery shop did Morrissey name as one of his favourites as his favourite in the 1980s?
Okay, well, it can't have been W.H. Smith because everybody hates W.H. Smith. I know which one it is, but I don't know how to say it. Is it Rylan or Ryman?
I'm going to have to press you to choose.
Ryman. It's not Rylan. That's a camp comic, isn't it?
That's correct. Ryman's.
Okay, nice.
So that's 7 out of 10, Chris.
Oh, really?
That's really, I think it's 7 out of 10. Yeah, that's really not bad.
Not bad, is it? Yeah, cheers.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
In some ways, you are better than me, but as I say, very small, minor ways that don't matter. Okay, yeah, I thought you did really well at that, actually.
Okay.
And I'm sorry for singing to the theme music again.
You'll get some hate for it, so that's all that matters. We'll get some hate.
Yeah. Now we are going to talk to Nanny Val, my grandma, a complete novice to the music.
Well, she was, but not so much anymore.
Well, I mean, she's been doing this podcast with us for over a year.
Over a year now, yeah.
And me and Nan increasingly talk about Morrissey, and she thinks he's really good, and it's actually it's a real pleasure to sort of share that interest with my Nan.
Yeah,
and also to see it all through her eyes, new eyes. So
not that new.
So Nan gets suggestions from our Patreon subscribers of which songs she should react to. She's going to come into the studio now and let us know what she's chosen from the list this time.
And when she comes in, we're going to get her to commit to come into one of the shows, aren't we?
Yes. Well, Nan texted me yesterday and said she's going to be away on holiday when the tickets come out for Manchester. Can I please get her a ticket?
Yeah.
So she will be there in Manchester. And if anybody, if you watch the podcast and you see me and my Nan and you want to say hello, please come and say hello, because I think it's a weird new world for Nan, isn't it? That people sort of will know her.
The Morrissey world, yeah.
In the Morrissey world, yeah. And that she's never actually met before. Okay, now, by the way, our Patreon, if you do want to join that, it's £4.50 a month or $5 in the US. And there's several benefits. So there's Chris and George Off Mic, which is like a monthly bonus episode where we chat for half an hour about topics in a bit more detail and a bit more honest, in depth. You'll get the full unedited interviews with our guests. You can join our exclusive members only WhatsApp chat, which is really active, and there's really nice people in there. All know a hell of a lot about Morrissey and the Smiths.
Yeah.
You'll get regular deliveries of badges.
Most importantly.
Yes.
Yeah.
About once a year, we'll send out a selection of badges, unique badges that you won't get anywhere else. And of course, you can choose the next song that Nanny Val reacts to. So you'll find the link in the description of this podcast if you want to sign up.
You're getting better at marketing, George, I think.
Am I?
Yeah. Your sales pitch is getting a bit better. A bit pathetic at the start, but
Yeah.
you're getting more confident with it.
Who was the comedian that said he was a door-to-door salesman selling doors? Was that Bill Bailey? Someone.
I don't know.
I could never do that. But I'm glad it's getting a bit more slick.
Yeah. Yeah.
So should we have a chat with Nan?
Let's.
Okay.
Yep.
Cheers.
Cheers. So welcome back, Nanny Val.
Thank you, Christopher.
Not my nanny.
You
But,
are.
but
you
close
are.
enough.
Surrogate.
Yeah. I'll take that. I'll take it. So you're back in again to talk about a song. Which song is it this time?
When you open your legs,
Okay.
which I was dubious about.
It's a bit. Is it awkward for you, George?
A little bit dicey
Yeah.
with your own grandma.
Yeah.
But this song is from Low in High School.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good tracks on this album. This particular one is a rare example of Morrissey talking about sexuality openly, I think. So I'm really keen to hear, what was your first impression when you first heard the song?
Well, this one was asked for by Jax and by Debbie.
Oh, so two of our Patreon subscribers.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
And I thought, I'm not sure about that. And I thought I'd listen and before I reserved my judgment. And I did wonder at the title at first. But when Morrissey was asked about it in the beginning, first of all, he joked that it was about cycling.
That's so Morrissey.
So,
Yeah.
but another time he said it was about human sexual love.
Yeah.
So I thought that's probably the the path it is. And I also wondered about the 4 a.m. and once again I'm asked to leave the club in Tel Aviv. And I thought, but I know he's got a real love of Israel and of Tel Aviv. He's one of his songs, Israel, is like an anthem almost, isn't it? And yeah, I've seen him wrapped in the flag of Israel. And he's, what's the other one? The Girl from Tel Aviv, is that?
Yeah, so in that album, there's 3 references, I think, maybe more, but in that, there's obviously the song Israel, this song, Tel Aviv, and then there's the Girl from Tel Aviv.
Yes.
So maybe Tel Aviv as well, where Morrissey played a couple of years ago.
He's played there about 4 times, I think. The first time in 2008.
Yeah.
And they obviously, he's as popular there as he loves them. He's obviously loved back because they gave him, the mayor of Tel Aviv gave him the keys to the city in 2012. Yes. So he is obviously very well loved there. But Tel Aviv is apparently known as I write so much down and then I think I'm going to forget all this. It's sorry.
Go have a second, yeah. But I think for Tel Aviv, I went to see Morrissey there recently in the tour, the recent tour.
One, was it?
Yeah, the more recent tour that he did, and yeah, he did. People there, they were so grateful that he was there because a lot of obviously tours don't go there, so, for obvious reasons. But yeah, he did, and it was a great show, and the people loved him. So have you found it?
Yeah. Tel Aviv is recognised as the most gay-friendly city.
Yeah, I've heard that.
In the Middle East, which isn't saying much, really. But,
I suppose it is really. Is it?
Like the most gay-friendly spot in Dubai.
yeah.
Anyway, it is. And in 2014, they erected a monument to the gay victims of the Holocaust. So obviously is something
that's important.
Yeah, that, they promote essentially.
And so can I ask you, Nan, what is happening in the story of this song? In your opinion, what's happening?
Well, I think because of his love of Israel and the people there, I think that he feels very relaxed. So he stays in this particular club until they say, look, it's 4 a.m, you need to go home. I think it's just somewhere where he feels very happy and very relaxed. And I think that's what is meant by it.
And there's a kind of, and I'm sure Morrissey would admit to this readily, but there's a kind of patheticness to it, isn't there? He's in this club until 4 a.m, until the last moment when he's going to be kicked out. He's kind of like the pathetic kind of person in the club that stays till the end. And I find that quite endearing that he would sing a song about being that person,
Yeah, and proud of it, apparently. I think it's probably one of the few times that he feels that happy to be in an environment where he can relax and be himself.
Yes.
You know, obviously he wouldn't be alone. He'd be with his crew, I would imagine.
Yeah.
You know.
And he doesn't often talk about being out and going out for, he talks about, he said, I just stay at home and don't do much really. But in this song, he's talking about,
I don't want to go home.
He's out all night, He must have had some good drinks.
Yeah.
And so he says in this song, people only give once they receive. What do you think about that, Nan? Do people really only give when they receive?
It's according to nature. Some people are givers and some people are takers. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion what people are. I don't think you can judge people until you know them, you know?
It speaks to a pessimistic view of the world, doesn't it? You know, human beings, they only offer something when they're given something. Yeah. But not everybody's like that, right? There's a lot of people who will give freely.
I just think he's been subjected to so much of that, of being used by people, and you know, that he's probably has got a bit of a jaundiced view on people. But I think that's lifted. I don't think that's current. As you say, he's quite spontaneous and happy, isn't he, in lots of his...
He seems so. I mean, a lot of the recent shows that we've been to, he seems really happy and obviously very funny as well.
So there's another bit in the song when it says, soon there will come the very final pull of earth, and until then I will scream out your name. What does he mean by the very final pull of earth?
I think it means, again, is him recognising his feelings for Israel. And I think he means until he's, you know, until he dies, until the pull of the earth takes him away, he will go on screaming in their defence and lauding them and saying, you know, what a great country they are, what great people they are, I think.
Well, that's interesting because personally, to me, when I hear those lyrics, I think of a kind of apocalyptic thing. He's saying the world will end, and when that time comes, or until that time comes, I will scream out the worth of the person that I find attractive. You know, the very final pull of earth. I don't know, Chris, maybe what do you think? Does that sound apocalyptic to you, or is it more what Nan is saying?
It does, and talking about that part of the world as well, a lot of things could change there, and there's a lot of things have changed there. It's the most sort of probably fought over piece of land in the world. So yeah, possibly. I mean, what I find interesting. What do you think of the sort of, because obviously those are quite deep things that we're talking about there, the pull of the earth and Israel and Tel Aviv and things. But then the song also then it mentions, you know, you sort of forget everything once someone opens their legs. So that, you know, really, is anything that important? A bit like the song we did last time, which was the Why Pamper Life's Complexities when the pleather runs smooth on the passenger seat. It's almost like, why does any of that really matter when you haven't got that immediate thing right there? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I believe there's obviously, with all of his songs, there's a dual meaning. You know, I think everything he ever writes or does, there's always, you can always read, you know, two interpretations into it. You know, and I'm sure you're right. I'm sure that's part of it, but that's what makes it interesting, I suppose.
Well, that's it. So this is, as Chris started to hint towards this is what I wanted to ask you now. So Morrissey is basically saying in this song, everything that I think is important, everything that I worry about, as soon as you accept me as an intimate romantic partner, it all falls away. And that's a very true aspect of human life, isn't it? When you find someone that you love, all of a sudden, as long as they accept you, everything just doesn't matter anymore. And that's quite a profound emotion to write in a song, isn't it?
Yeah, and obviously, you know, especially in the first throes of love, people feel like that all of the troubles of the world disappear. They're not really interested.
Yeah.
But it's true. But I don't think I actually focused in on that as much.
What made you pick this song out of the?
I really liked it. It's written by Morrissey and Jesse, wasn't it?
Jesse, yeah. Jesse Tobias.
And I liked the introduction. It was very sort of Middle Eastern. Yeah. You know, there was the guy that usually plays the keyboard. He had like a reed version of a wind version of it, didn't he? A keyboard that he was playing in. And Jess's strumming was very of the Middle East, like it was that. It gave that sort of atmosphere, and I thought, this is nice. I like this.
Yeah, it's definitely a very atmospheric song. and there's a lot going on, especially even in the intro. And I suppose it's about Morrissey's time in Israel, in Tel Aviv. You know, I love Morrissey songs that are autobiographical. And when he says, I'm still in this club at 4 a.m., I believe that's a real recollection that he's had being in a club until 4 a.m. And isn't it funny that, you know, we're doing this whole podcast about Morrissey? Isn't he great? Isn't he fantastic? There's a world in which Morrissey's just sat in a club until 4 a.m. and the bouncers are thinking, for fuck's sake, like, can you leave, please?
Yeah, they want to get home themselves.
They don't care who Morrissey is. You know?
But maybe we need to find the club in Manchester, which you must know, where we could maybe meet up and sit with him till 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
Is there any chance? I feel like no.
Not the Star Garter. Maybe
7th of June, isn't it? Is it 7th of June?
When he's coming to Manchester? Yeah. I just think there's no chance.
Could be in the New Union on Canal Street at about 6 a.m.
The Eagle Bar.
Well, yeah. I mean, you couldn't see him in there. It's pitch black.
So, Nan, you've listened to a lot of Morrissey and Smith songs. I don't need you to recall every song that you've listened to, but in terms of a scale, would this be one of the better songs, one of the not so good songs? Where would you put it?
No, I did like this one, and the fact that he is obviously is something that's very dear to him. This, you know, feeling about the people in Israel, because Israel is God's country, and that he obviously got some, I don't know, some connection that he feels very strongly with them. So. Yeah, I liked it. Plus the fact my daughter's there in Tel Aviv. She works there often.
Yes.
Flies in from Dubai. She's there today.
Auntie Mandy. And so what is it about a Morrissey song for you that makes it good or bad? What are you looking for in a good Morrissey song?
Obviously his current voice. That's how I like to hear that resonance. That, and his poetry, and you know, I told you the music is very important, but I'm not very good at appreciating music. I just like it or I don't. You know, I can't really assess the finer points. I'm not good at analysing music, but definitely his voice and his lyrics are fantastic.
Yeah.
And how would you rate this one? Because obviously last month George promised he's going to make us a leaderboard. Whereas, have you got it to bring it up?
I haven't quite got round to it yet.
You said you promised. You promised, didn't he? So
we'll get there.
So so next time then, he's going to make a leaderboard.
No, I've started. I've got a lot of it wrote down. I go back and listen to odd bits, but I'm not very good.
We'll see where we put this one,
them,
and then we'll keep doing that. Yeah.
Excuse me.
Well, thank you, Nan, for coming once again. Hope it wasn't too stressful.
No, as long as I'm not upset anyone or bored anyone, I don't mind.
I know, because that's what you're so worried about, isn't it? That you might offend someone or you might get it wrong.
You're the main attraction.
You are the main attraction. And the whole point is that you're a novice, a newbie to the music. We want your fresh perspectives. If you want to join the Patreon, or if you're already a member, you can suggest the next song that Nanny Val listens to. And you will look at all of the suggestions.
I do.
Listen to all of the songs and then choose the one that you think you have the most to say about. So if you want to be part of that, please find the link in our description of the podcast episode and you can become a Patreon member. In the meantime, we'll say allons-y, goodbye, au revoir.
Au revoir.
À bientôt.
Arrivederci.
Okay. Cheers then. One more thing.
I'm trying to think, what's the Spanish? I know Spanish of all of them.
Adios.
Adios. Hasta la vista, baby.
Yeah. Hasta luego.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Hasta la vista, baby. And should we have a cheers?
Cheers.
Cheers, honeys.
I need to stretch out.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. And see you next month.
And now we're going to analyse the lyrics of "We Hate It When Our Friends Become Successful."
Yeah.
So at first glance, this song is, Morrissey's talking about when people aren't happy or jealous of his success, and the song sort of follows that through, and it's about sort of poking fun a little bit at their jealousy, I think.
Yeah. I mean, so it's a classic Morrissey song in many ways. Firstly, it has a long title, it brings to mind like the more you ignore me, the closer I get.
Yeah.
These are basically like book titles almost. So it has a long title. It's funny. I don't think you can really doubt when you understand the meaning that it's not funny. And Morrissey plays with us, doesn't he? You know, for example, when he does the refrain or the chorus, I'm not quite sure what you call it, of ha 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 ha, and then goes on to just say la 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 la. It's like he's saying, you know that I can write good lyrics. I don't need to prove it to you. So I'm just going to do a whole refrain where I just say la 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 la.
Yeah, and for those of us who like the Morrissey sounds, it's more Morrissey sounds in the song as well. So there's a lot of that. I think also the one line
Got
that
your
always
little- got your
yeah,
little
I've got
notes
some notes. Yeah, one. Yeah, I've got the memory of a goldfish.
Yeah.
But no, one line that I really like is, and if they're northern, that makes it even worse. And I think that's, we can often feel that way, not just if because most of us aren't, Morrissey, obviously, or in that industry, but, that always makes me think of, in my career in social housing, like, and if I haven't got a degree, that makes it even worse, because it's almost like, because I'm younger, that makes it even worse. It's almost like, that I shouldn't be there, I shouldn't do that because you're northern, you shouldn't be able to do what Morrissey's doing, or because I've not got a degree, I shouldn't be able to do what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's almost like we can just about put up with you.
Yeah.
But the fact that you're northern, or the fact that you don't have a degree or something, it's like, but that is just too rich for my blood. I can't deal with it.
Can't cope with that. It's too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so. This is Morrissey being very reflective. This is 1992 when this song came out, so it's not really that long since the Smiths broke up. I suppose it's 5 years, and Morrissey's got this cool new band and he's got a cool new sound, but he's also dealing with the fact that, well, I'm not in my mid-20s anymore. I'm actually getting a little bit older. Even though only early 30s, it's not old at all. But in the pop,
You can tell yourself that, George. Yeah.
in the pop world, that could be considered kind of old. So in this song, he says, "Look at that face; it's so old."
Yeah.
He's reflecting on his own public image, isn't he?
Yeah, yeah. And around the clothes as well, it's because it's making fun of the clothes as well. It's almost like a jealous spite. And it makes me think of the other song. There's another song, Knockabout World, where he says they kick to kill me.
Yeah.
I think it's like sort of just a jealous spite for the sake of it, because it's almost like, why? Well, they don't need to do that. But yeah.
Yeah, and if you are like me and you watch a lot of interviews with comedians, I find them fascinating. A thing that will come up a lot, in fact, I even saw it with Daisy Mae Cooper on a clip just the other day, because she's got a new series of a TV show out. Because she was saying, I've had my lips done, and you can tell that my lips are so much bigger than the last series, and I had to do a flashback, and I had these massive lips. And the presenter said, well, why are you pointing that out? Most people wouldn't mention it. So, well, if I can make fun of myself, then I take away the weapon from the people who would do it for me.
Yeah.
So Morrissey is taking the mick out of himself here and saying, look at those clothes, look at that face, it's so old, and so many songs, more than we can stand. All the things that people might say about Morrissey, he's saying them first.
Yeah.
So then you can't really take the mick out of him for that, because he already admits that that's an issue.
Or acknowledges it. And obviously isn't that fazed by it, otherwise you wouldn't sing it. If it was that bad, it hurt that much, you probably wouldn't sing about it. Unless he cries about it afterwards. But
And Morrissey probably was thinking, gosh, I'm so old, thinking these sort of thoughts. I mean, it was around that sort of time when he wrote Get Off the Stage, wasn't it?
Yeah.
About old rock stars carrying on. Now, I'm sure Morrissey would give his right leg to go back to being this age, because actually he was fabulously handsome.
That always reminds me of the wear sunscreen. You talk about
advice
every second day, but the advice song, you might be able to tell people where that is. But one of the lines in that is appreciate and cherish the beauty of youth or being young, and then straight away the singer or the author of the song says, well, forget that, you'll never do that until it's gone.
Yeah.
Which I think is true, because you do think that, and you can never really appreciate that. Like, you're always looking back a little bit.
Yes, that is called Everybody Wears. No, it's called
Wear Sunscreen, isn't it, or something?
Yeah, it's called. Well, just type in "Wear Sunscreen" by Baz Luhrmann. It'll come up. That's a fabulous song. But yes, absolutely right. I think also there's a very interesting aspect to this song where he says, "It could have been me. Everybody knows. Everybody says so." I think that's like, there's a lot of people, and I count myself as one of them, who are Morrissey Smiths fans, who sort of think when they were younger, they're like, maybe one day I'll be like Morrissey, maybe one day I'll achieve my dreams. And And actually, 99% of people who think that don't actually make it. It's like Jazz and Peep Show, isn't it? Am I in the 99% of people who think they're going to be big and nothing ever happens? Or am I in the 1% where it will actually be true? 99% of us are looking at Morrissey and you secretly go, yeah, it could have been me. If I'd put in a bit more effort and done my hair nice.
But you got the second best. You're making a podcast about Morrissey. This is the consolation prize.
Those who can't do teach and those who can't teach make podcasts. But yeah, don't you think this? It could have been me. Morrissey's poking fun and he's saying, "You saddos, you think you could have been me? Well, guess what? It's really hard to be Morrissey, and I've had to deal with a lot of shit, and it was never going to be you."
Yeah.
But presumably, it's like with this. If you can't do teach, it's this thing of probably a lot of people who work in the music industry, the kind of people who would be saying these comments that Morrissey's talking about, are failed musicians. You know, they couldn't do it, so they criticize. They couldn't do it, so they start a record label. You know. I think when we just listened to this song before we started this conversation, I was struck. I mean, the volume was a bit loud, so maybe that's why. But I was struck by how lively the song was. It is fun, isn't it?
Yeah, and so is. I mean, the music video as well, which I wanted to talk about.
Yeah,
is very lively and fun too.
Yeah,
you know the way they give the ice cream.
With the ice cream.
Yeah.
It's quite
erotic.
Yeah. That's a great word. I was going to say hot, which just sounds a bit creepy.
No, it's more erotic.
Erotic.
Yeah.
So they're playing.
And Morrissey can't help but smirk, which is quite nice to see.
Well, you know, handsome young man offering you an ice cream. How could you resist?
You couldn't, I'm sure.
The music video is fun too, and you know, I think just the bravery of Morrissey as a pop artist to release a song with such a long title that's taking the mick out of himself, that has a chorus that just goes or a refrain that just goes la 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 la. It's the bravery of Morrissey, isn't it?
Yeah. But also the song says a lot as well, even though there is those bits where he's just la la la-ing.
La la la-ing.
La la la. Oh, ha 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 ha.
Madame la la la. Okay, well, I think we've covered that. I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts. If you really like the song or you have a take on it, please get in touch with us. If you're in the WhatsApp chat, if you're a Patreon member, let us know your thoughts. Next, we're going to go into some recommendations. So it's the section that we call "If you love Morrissey, then you'll love this."
And I've got one this time.
Yeah, because Chris sometimes forgets to do one, so I have to give one to him. Oh, I'm breaking the fourth wall now.
Yeah,
going behind the curtain. So let's pour a little bit more wine and go into "If you love Morrissey, then you'll love this." Cheers.
Cheers.
So, if you love Morrissey, then you'll love this. So we're going to recommend a couple of things. I've got one. Chris has got one. If you enjoy the music and the lyrics of Morrissey and the Smiths, it's quite likely in a sort of webby diagram that you'll like various other things there. So in some ways connected, sometimes more obviously and sometimes less obviously. Just before we go into that, two things, Chris. One, why are you so annoyed? No. One, can I have some more wine, please?
You can have some more wine. I was going to say, look, empty.
Yeah.
So what are you thinking of the wine?
I really like it, actually. That was only £10, that bottle. It's called the Governor. So if you're looking for a nice Prosecco for reasonable price, £10, I would recommend that. We got that from... no, more, please. Got that from Majestic Wine.
It's actually much nicer than Prosecco. It's like
of course. Really, sorry, it's not actually Prosecco.
It's a Spanish sparkling wine. It's really sweet, and it won bronze in the International Wine Award Challenge 2022.
Great. Well, I've got a 15-meter swimming certificate. So what does that mean?
Well, I'm surprised. That means I'm surprised.
So that I just wanted to get some more wine, and that's great. Cheers.
Cheers.
And I just wanted to also mention our social media channels. So we're kind of like on everything that you can be on in our desperate attempt to get more viewers and listeners. So you can find us on Instagram. That's at Morrissey and Wine. Twitter, which is at Moz with a Z, Moz and Wine. Threads at Morrissey and Wine, and Blue Sky, the thing that Chris doesn't understand.
Yeah, but are we on Weibo yet?
What is that? The Chinese one?
It's a new one that all the young people are using.
Oh right, no, we're not on that. We'll have to get on that train.
Yeah.
Blue Sky.
I didn't just make it up.
Blue Sky is at Morrissey and Wine. Now, also we are on WhatsApp. The WhatsApp is really good because when Morrissey updates his website, we send out a notification to
when someone dies.
Yeah, well, when Morrissey posts an obituary, we send out a notification to everybody on WhatsApp. So it just pops up like a text. Morrissey's updated his website. It just means that you don't have to spend every day refreshing the website, or waiting for someone else to post about what Morrissey said. But also like new gigs, just big stuff in the Morrissey world. We don't spam you, but you might get a text every couple of days, sometimes once a week.
You're still there?
Yeah. And you can join the WhatsApp by clicking the Linktree link in our bio on any of those social media pages. Then you'll find the link to join the WhatsApp. So on to the business, the bread and butter of what we're discussing in this section, which is our recommendations.
Yes.
Would you like to go first?
Yes. Yeah. So mine this time is this time is around. Last time I was here, sorry, we had some vegan food that I let you try, and you loved it all.
No, I didn't like that horrible dry mouthful of Parmesan you fed me.
That's quite nice, though. Anyway, so this time is called Happy Cow. It's an app. Have you heard of Happy Cow?
No.
You're not?
Wait, did you use it in New Orleans?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Don't tell me more.
Yeah, so basically it's an app, and it's been around for a long time, probably as a website before then. But basically an app or a website, and you can just Google where vegan food is, or vegetarian food, or pescatarian food, or vegetarian options. I use it because, I was last year I went to Istanbul, and to be fair, there was actually quite a lot of stuff there. But sometimes when you go somewhere that you think, if in England we have lots of vegan places. Everywhere has vegan options now, which is really good.
Yeah.
But the other places not so much. So if you go to Morocco or something, you might be able to find somewhere that's vegan.
So this is like a searchable directory.
Yeah.
Wherever you are in the world.
Yeah.
You can find vegan or vegetarian or pescatarian.
That's right, yeah. But also, what's great is it also will tell you in that city which is the highest rated, but rated by people who go on the app. So
okay.
So I think I've used it for a long time now, and I used it in New Orleans, and I got a hot dog that I had to wait quite a long time for, but it was a nice hot dog.
Yeah, we were waiting for it was the last day of our holiday. We were waiting to catch the taxi to go to the airport, and Chris said, "Oh, just go and get a quick vegan hot dog." It was like an hour.
They say the Americans know how to make things slick and to to fast food and things.
Yeah.
Went in there, they had the worst. They needed someone to go in, a consultant to sort out that, because they had one little woman, bless her, doing the till and then preparing the food, and they had one guy, and his job was basically to take the bag from the counter and give it to you, and he was just stood there. I wanted to go in the back and do it myself.
New Orleans, by the way, we chose it. You came with my family, didn't you? And we chose it because we had these airline points, and there's very few places you can actually go to with these points. So we went for New Orleans. Actually, it was an amazing holiday. If you ever have the chance to go to New Orleans, I would so recommend it. It's so different to the rest of America.
And we got to watch Trump 2, The Return.
This time
live.
it's personal.
This time it's personal.
Yeah, we saw the inauguration live.
Yeah.
Well, not live. We weren't actually at the.
Yeah, we were in the bomb shelter at that point, weren't we? Just in case.
Would you like to hear my recommendation?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm just gonna.
If we have time.
Yeah, I'm just gonna flick my screen because I've got something I wanted to bring up. So my recommendation, you will have, if you've been listening to our podcast since the start, you will have heard me mention Philip Larkin. I think that there is like no link between Morrissey and Philip Larkin. The only thing I've ever seen in terms of a link is a critic said the lyrics to Lifeguard on Duty were Larkin-esque.
Okay. So what would a Larkin-esque? What would that mean to the average Chris?
Well, I'll dumb it down for the average Chris. No, the Larkin is renowned for miserable poetry. It is miserable. It's very stoic, and it's accepting of death, and it's just kind of Mardy Englishman kind of thing.
That doesn't sound anything like Morrissey.
But also, but crucially, it's funny in a lot of places. Yeah. It's funny, and I'm not just recommending Philip Larkin here. What I'm recommending is Philip Larkin reading his own poetry. If you just type into YouTube or Google Philip Larkin reading his poems, there's loads of them, and he has this wonderful voice that's quite deep and as I say, quite stoic, and you can hear many of his poems that he's written. Like I say, there's no obvious link between Morrissey and Larkin, but I'm sure secretly Morrissey must like Philip Larkin because there's so many actual thematic similarities.
Yeah, because I've never heard Morrissey mention him, but it was just surprising because there's
Now, if you're a complete novice to Philip Larkin, there's a short poem that I've got up here on my laptop, which I'm going to read.
Yeah, this is probably the only one I know, but I like it.
This is the one. This is Philip Larkin's This Charming Man.
Yeah,
You know, most people will have heard this poem. So it's called This Be the Verse. He says, they fuck you up, your mum and dad. They may not mean to, but they do. They fill you with the faults they had and add some extra just for you. But they were fucked up in their turn by fools in old style hats and coats who half the time were soppy stern and half at one another's throats. And this is the third and final stanza, which I think is just so Morrissey. Man hands on misery to man. It deepens like a coastal shelf. Get out as early as you can and don't have any kids yourself.
Nice and cheerful, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, and I see similarities there with some lines in Kill Uncle, particularly found. You know,
Yeah.
what found someone who's worth it in this murkiness, and what if I never find that person? And of course also at
Last
the end
of the family line,
end of the family line, don't have any kids. The perfect way to enjoy Philip Larkin reading his poems is pour a glass of wine or a nice whiskey on the rocks, dim the lights, load up Philip Larkin on your laptop, and just lie down and just listen to him read those words because they're so beautiful.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Keep Samaritans on the side as well.
yeah. Philip Larkin.
Speed dial.
Yeah. Philip Larkin once said he had some criticism of his poetry, and he was called quite pedestrian. And he said, I wonder if it ever occurs to the critics that I might agree with them. You know, Philip Larkin writes in the most ordinary way about the most ordinary things like department stores and getting an invitation in the post to a dinner party and just very normal things, but elevates them and makes them quite profound. So
yeah, which I think is very like Morrissey, making the sort of the mundane sort of almost glamorous in a way.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that's a really good recommendation. And that poem as well was on there's a film that came out recently which was Speak No Evil. I think you probably turned it off halfway because it's a horror.
Yeah, I did. I got halfway through and I was too scared, so I switched it off.
It's not that scary, but George is a bit of a scaredy cat.
Wet blanket,
wet something. But yeah, in that film they basically read that poem. They don't really mention it, credit him, which is odd. He doesn't say at the end Larkin, which I think you'd expect. But it just shows that it is the charming man of Larkin.
Yeah, it's also mentioned in Succession.
Is it?
Yeah, the family therapist comes to sort of help the billionaire family with their therapy, and he opens with a stanza from this. So you will now if you've never heard of it before, and I'm sure a lot of you have, but now you've heard it, you'll notice it in things.
Yeah, that one is used quite a lot.
Yeah.
So that was Happy Cow and Philip Larkin, two recommendations for your homework.
Let us know what you think if you check them out. Now, I'm quite looking forward to this. We've got Danny Marsh coming up next.
Yeah, we have.
So Danny Marsh, as we mentioned at the start of the podcast, Danny Marsh has been working at the Star Garter in Manchester for a long time. It's funny with Danny because me and Chris have been going probably for 10 years. And to start with, we thought he didn't like
just
us.
A miserable bastard.
Well, I think Danny is the kind of person that you have to be nice to for a long time, and he has to warm up, and then he's really nice to you as he has been.
Which he has, because I thought he hated me for 5 years, but now we're best mates. So yeah, he's a strange guy, but yeah, obviously been at the Star Garter a long time, hasn't he? So
yeah, and if you've ever been to Star Garter, you would have seen Danny behind the bar or possibly helping out on the door. I just think he's going to have a really interesting insight into how much does Morrissey and the Smiths music mean to the Star Garter? How important is it?
Yeah.
How have Morrissey and Smiths fans changed over the years? What does he think of Morrissey and the Smiths? And maybe give us some insight into the live music industry at the moment and how much of a struggle that is, because I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get an update on what's happening with the Star Garter, because every time I read news about the Star Garter every couple of years, there's something bad.
It sort of heart sinks a little bit because it's such an important venue, especially for me on my own, because it's somewhere that I've enjoyed for the last 10 years. So it does worry me if anything would change. I think it just needs to stay the same forever.
Yeah. So let's go into our chat with Danny. Cheers.
Cheers.
Danny Marsh of the Star Garter, thanks for joining us on the Morrissey and Wine podcast.
Oh, you're welcome. I did think it was a Cliff Richard podcast, so I thought it was a Mistletoe and Wine.
Maybe that's our next one.
So we've got you here to talk about the Star and Garter, which is, of course, a mecca, basically, for Smiths and Morrissey fans across the UK. Not just across the UK, across the world.
Across the world, yeah.
It dates back to 1803, I believe. But when did you first start at the Star and Garter, and what do you do these days, day to day?
It's a long story with me in the Star Garter, really. I first went as a customer in 1997 after an Echo and the Bunnymen gig. And we got a flyer for us in our hand for another night we used to do called Smile. And it just had a list of bands that you couldn't hear at the time in any of the clubs. All the clubs were like Oasis, Still, Stone Roses, especially Manchester, were all terrible. So we went there. I ended up promoting a night there myself, a bit of a rival to the Smiths night as a Bell and Sebastian disco. We did that for a few years. And then I worked in an hotel for a bit. I got made redundant. And Andy, the ex-owner, who's not with us anymore, sadly, he offered me a job behind the bar. My first night was a Smiths night, and that was January 2010. So like 15 years. And now I actually manage the place. I've gone from barman, just like the last person standing, I think, more than any capability.
And you still do serve behind the bar occasionally, don't you? As well as doing everything else.
Yeah, and 90% of the time, my time is behind the bar because that's what I like. I really enjoy it.
And so how did the Morrissey Smiths Disco first come about? Where did the idea come from?
It's still the same. It was a guy called Dave who DJs now. It was him and his dad. And I think they come to the Star I started on a Thursday night, I'm sure, round about, I think we're coming up to 30 years. So around about 95, something like that. And I think it just grew. By the time I first went as a customer in 99, and it was packed. And then obviously it went through a boom time, like from about 2005 to about 2015, when you couldn't really get in, could you? Just remember the queues and that. They aren't there anymore, but we still get a really good crowd, knocking on 200 every month.
And so, how important are Morrissey and Smiths fans to the lifeblood of the Star and Garter?
Now, they're very important indeed. The Smiths night kept us going for years in some dark times. That was always something we could rely on. And obviously then Julie started doing the Moz Army, and that was another massive boost for the pub as well. So, yeah, I think it paid for like guttering to be done, roofing to be done, things like that. So it has been really important.
So people come from all over the world. I've met people who say, I've come from Germany just for this weekend or whatever. Are you ever surprised these days when people tell you how far they've travelled?
You know what? At first I was absolutely amazed. I think the first Mozambique is someone from Japan, and obviously you have the guys from Texas who come over all the time. And then obviously the Mexican Morrissey, Jose, they're coming from California, places like that. Crazy. Hollywood film stars like Chloe Sevigny from multiple films. We've had Ailey from Corrie, on another level. An actress. But yeah, it just surprised me. I just can't believe, I can't get the motivation to go to anything I like, if it's round the corner anymore. So fair play to them.
And so, like I said when we started this interview, it's kind of like a mecca, and for some people, it's a bit of a pilgrimage to come to the Star and Garter. And I wondered, what, from your perspective, what are the ingredients that make it a special place?
I think what it is, obviously, the music brings it all together. Obviously, the love of the band, the love of Morrissey, and it's just brought a load of like-minded people together, hasn't it? You've got your people who are my age and above, who are like the staple. And I think if you think about it, we've probably got about 300 regulars, and they might do 2 or 3 a year. Like yourselves, you're in and out. You people are busy, and there's WhatsApp groups, and they arrange which ones they're coming to, because they made lifelong friends on that night. And then we always luckily, we have an influx of new people every year, students. And I think the last time you were there, and it was absolutely rammed with young people. And it's like, I reckon because of like the parents of, you're doing in the school run, you're here in the Smiths and Morrissey, aren't you? If your mum and dad are into it. And ingrained in them, and they're making friends with people. They make friends, and they mix with the older guys as well. So it's not like us and them, the old ones and the young ones. They're all mixing and talking. It's really good.
So I guess so. There's the friendliness that you talk about there. I think that is true. You meet new people, and everyone's willing to have a chat. Do you think it has a certain charm because it's not Star Garter isn't a pristine modern venue? It's a historic place. Do you think that adds to the charm?
I think it is like a rustic charm, so to speak, isn't there? You know, a certain grottiness of a gig venue that has like a lot of metal and punk shows as well. And yeah, I think it's not changed, has it? You know what I mean? You know exactly what you're getting. You're getting pretty much one or two of the same DJs playing. Andy used to always joke, playing the same songs in a different order. You know, and, I don't know. It just works. It's got to be something in the walls. Something in the walls. I don't know. Can't explain it fully.
I suppose the drinks prices help as well. I mean, it's a rare, cheap venue in Manchester.
Yeah, it's proving more difficult by the day to keep the prices down. I never thought we'd serve a pint for £5. I mean, it's £5.50 a pint now. But we keep the can deals as low as we can, and people get drunk. They have a party, don't they?
Yeah.
Even the staff.
And having met so many Smiths and Morrissey fans over the years, how would you characterize them? Is there like a type? Is there a certain type of person, or what do you make of them generally?
Yeah. You know what? And I think this might surprise you. I think anyone who loves music, I love music, and we're all the same. We just have different bands. So yeah, the Smiths Morrissey guys can be a bit more intense, but the punk guys are intense. They love the music. They're all in the 50s, 60s, dressing as they did when they were 18, listen to the same music when they were 18. I think it's just a music obsessive is a Morrissey Smiths fan.
Yes.
I mean, you see them all, they're all going to other gigs all the time. Up and coming bands are giving a whirl. You know, a lot of them go and watch like the lottery winners these days, and like things that. But I think it's just a music fan thing. We get obsessed. I heard Don Sebastian in HMV in Manchester in about 1997. I run up to the thing, that's what it was, and bought an EP. Now I've been watching them 26 times all around the world, but then that stopped when I got married. I was around about 2010. So we're all obsessive. I think it's like that men are collectors as well, aren't they? I know there's loads of women, but I think men are really collectors, and we want to keep things and we get obsessed with things. And I don't think they're any different to the punk and metal guys. They're just different. It's a different uniform. Sense?
Yes, it does. Yeah. I mean, I struggle to think what is the Morrissey Smiths fan type, because I do think there's quite a lot of variety. People are different in that crowd, and it's the same with any band, I suppose. You're just united by that obsession.
On any Smiths night, you can have 18 to 80, can't you?
Yeah.
You can have 18 to 80, and that's no people probably thinking that's ridiculous, but it's absolutely the truth. Because, like I said, the people who were in the 30s, 40s, when the Smiths came out in the 80s, are now 70 odd, 80. You've got the next wave, and then their kids, it might be even grandkids now. But it's that's a testament, I think, more than anything, is to those songs. If you know what I mean. Those albums are amazing, aren't they? Still sound fresh, still sound amazing.
And so, are you a fan of Morrissey and the Smiths yourself?
Definitely a fan of I was always a big fan of the Smiths. I was 1983. I'd be 12, and you're just starting secondary school, and everyone's into music. And my friends were all into. We were all into the Smiths, the House Martins, band from Australia called the Go-Betweens, which was a bit weird. But we poured over the NME every week. We bought a copy between us, and we'd read it in the dinner hall. You know what I mean? So yeah. And then, like I say, I can't say I've listened to like a lot of Morrissey, his solo stuff, not from past the 90s, but that's because I got into some other things, you know what I mean? But you hear songs and you think, yeah, that's cracking, you know what I mean? I think I've just been watching on Facebook, keep coming up, old clips of you know, these bands round about the late 90s.
Yeah.
But look amazing, don't they? They're all very much a similar look. Alan White's in the band, I think Boz, and they're all absolutely immaculate and tight, and they're really good. A lot of clips off like American TV. But yeah, still go, yeah, that's a great song if I hear it. But still love the Smiths.
And so we've talked about Smiths fans and the Smiths, but I have to ask you, what's your take on Morrissey these days?
Morrissey's like, he's a old curmudgeon auntie, really. You know what I mean? He's just, you know, if this had been Morrissey and Wine with an H in, sometimes it just drives me a bit spare. You see it, he's all over the place. I just don't know why he doesn't release his own records. Forget being on a major. Give the fans what they want, which is a vinyl copy of those songs. Because nobody sells CDs anymore. Nobody goes out and buys albums in the thousands. You know, at one point, I think he had to sell like 100,000 copies in a week to get in the top 10. I think the lottery winners this week are number one. I think they sold like 4,500 vinyl. So it's nothing anymore.
Yeah.
You know, on streaming. He should just tour while he can, stop moaning, release his records himself. It's dead simple. Everyone's doing it. The kids are doing it. Get a distribution deal and essentially give the fans what they want. They want to hear his new music.
Yeah. Do you think is it a pride thing? Do you think he's too proud to self-release?
Yeah, and like I say, he's from that age where you got a big chunk of money from a record label. Here's a studio for 2 years, but that doesn't happen anymore. But he's making the music, so I don't know why I don't release it. But he's obviously making the music at his own cost. Why don't you just get it out there? But yeah, I'd still, if I was in the club, I'd still go to the Co-op Live. I'm not here. I mean, I'm away on holiday, but I'd definitely be going to that. I think it'll be an event.
And so when I was thinking about questions to ask you, Danny, something came to mind because I saw a picture of the Ian Curtis mural on the side of the building. And I wondered, and I'm sure someone's asked you this before, why was it Ian Curtis and not the Smiths or Morrissey on the mural?
What it was, I don't know if you know the history of the mural. It was put up in the Northern Quarter, and then I think it got covered by another advert. You know, when the time ran out, it got covered for an LP launch. Was it H or something like that? I can't remember the artist. So that mural then no longer existed, and I think the artist got in touch with a charity, and they were doing it as a charity thing for. I think is it Mind?
Right.
The mental health for men. What are the mental health for men charities? And I think Peter Hook got involved, and he's been interviewed in the pub before, been in there before, and they've obviously come up with that's a space that'll probably always be there as it's listed. So it was a perfect fit, really. I think if we had a choice, you would have like the Smiths or Morrissey on, but I don't think we really had a choice. It was just something that fell in our laps.
Yeah.
And I think it looks amazing. So
it does. It looks great.
Yeah. And then Peter Hook actually played a show to raise money for that charity last year. So,
oh wow,
we raised about 30 grand. I think he sold something like 3,500, like 5,000 tickets at like a tenner each for a raffle or something like that. So, earned an absolute fortune for the charity. But yes, so it wasn't a choice of the Star Garter to have Ian Curtis. It sort of fell in all that.
Yeah. The Star Garter is not only a music venue and disco venue, but a popular filming location, right? Quite a lot of TV shows have filmed.
Lots of TV shows over the years, yeah. Brassic obviously being the latest one.
Are you ever there when they film? Do you get to meet the people who are the actors and stuff?
We try and stay out of the way, to be fair. We just give them a set of keys and let them get on with it, because you just end up talking and distracting people. You have to be so quiet. I think they run over one time and I was there. I was cleaning the lines while I was filming because we were setting up for a gig, you know what I mean? They were overrunning, and it's just constant quiet. And as you can tell, I'm not very good at
that. So I think Fresh Meat filmed at Star Garter, didn't they? And It's a Sin, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably for me. That's the the best thing we've had filmed, if you know what I mean. The thing I've most enjoyed on TV.
And so this is all, it leads on to my next question. This is part of it, is about how difficult it is to run the Star Garter in 2025. And so part of that is diversifying, you know, TV filming, discos, gigs. Like, but is it tough, Danny, to run Star Garter in this year, this age?
Very, very lucky. We've had, like I said, we've had very good nights. Like the Smiths night kept us going. The filming is amazing. That's kept us going. Then about 3-4 years ago, the landlord of the pub, not Andy, the guy who actually owned it, sold it to developers at the back, the actual business, but gave us a lease to carry on as we are. They didn't want to do anything with the building. And Andy died, passed away. That's terrible, obviously. Not really got over that at all, any of us, I don't think. But his widow, Ellen, has just sold the business to a company who work alongside Warehouse Project, so basically to these developers. And so I think the future is really great for the Star Garter. We are owned by a multi-million-pound company now, but they are just leaving me in place, and we're doing exactly what we are doing now. So, but it'll just be more involvement in Warehouse Project later on in the year. But we've done 6 or 7 of those each year for the last 4 years, and they've kept us going. So, like I say, things just keep falling out. We are lucky, really, at the end of the day.
This is the first time that I can remember where people are saying the future is the Star Garter, because for a long time it's just been problem after problem, right?
They're fighting the railways. You know, it looked like we'd be closed down. They were never going to knock us down. That's always a myth. Or we'll knock you down. They can't. It's a Grade 2 listed building. But they was going to build platform 15 and 16 at the station, and that would have just put us out of business completely, because the roads would have been closed for 3-4 years. And we fought tooth and nail for that. And that sort of venues like the Corner House, because that was part of that expansion. And that expansion isn't going ahead. One of the few things that come out of Brexit. I think it was European money to fund it. But yeah, we fought tooth and nail, hung on, you know, where we've had like a tenner in the bank and things like that, and we've scrimped through. But like I say, at the minute, sitting here, I can't lie, the future looks really good. We're gonna change a few things in the pub, but nothing, you know, aesthetic as such. But like tidy the toilets up, things like that. Make it comfier downstairs, but nothing. All the same staff, all the same nights. Like I say, they are all music. They're called Broadwick Live. They are all music fans. They're all new music nuts like we are, but they've always done it on a bigger scale. There's venues in London, etc. And this is a first small venue. But yeah, looking forward to working with them, to be honest. They've been really positive so far.
Brilliant. And I wanted to ask you about the Cortinas song, Smiths Disco. Did you know that they were writing that? And like, did it come as a surprise when it came out?
It was a surprise when it came out, because Liam, the lead singer of Cortinas, he'd done a couple of years on like the live circuit, bashing those songs around, you know, on acoustic guitar. So he always played the open mics at the pub, and he did that song in the pub the first time he did it. And it's basically, you ever heard of Stephen Fretwell?
No.
It's like a Stephen Fretwell riff he stole with permission, and he just like wrote a song over it. So yeah, and those guys are Liam, Mark's not in the Cortinas anymore, and the drummer Michael, and they were regulars to Smile, and really regulars at the Smiths night. They loved it. So yeah, the song, I think it goes like Peter G. There's someone else. I'll meet them. I'm out on a night out with Peter G on Wednesday. So yeah,
it just goes to show the sort of prominent place Star Garter has in the cultural lives of a lot of people, that this song can be made and come out and be popular, and kind of cements it as part of pop music history, doesn't it? The Star Garter sort of makes its place.
It's a song called, I think it's Modern World, and it's the line, "I found solace at the Star Garter," is in the song. So
yeah. Well, I think I've asked you everything, Danny. I was working around the question about asking what you think about Morrissey, but actually that went okay. I thought you might say something else.
So, yeah, I
But
love music, you know what I mean? I still love the Smiths. So
now, of course, this episode is coming out in April, and the following month in May, on May the 10th, will be Moz Army. Are you looking forward to that?
really looking forward to it. It's you know, about 1,000 emails behind Julie at the minute, so that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you're doing the live podcast, aren't you, that day?
Yep. So anyone listening to this, if you've got a Moz Army ticket, you can come along. I think that's going to be 12 p.m. on the Saturday. We're going to do a live recording of the podcast, and there will be free wine. So
Anybody wants another kind of drink or a soft drink, I'll be there downstairs anyway. So
brilliant. Well, thank you for joining us on the Morrissey and Wine podcast, Danny. It's been really good. Thank you.
it's been great. Thanks for having me.
Cheers. Bye bye.
See you later.
So that was Danny Marsh, fascinating, and I'm really glad that we got him on.
Yeah,
it's not all about the biggest musicians that's ever worked with Morrissey or whatever. There's a whole story about Morrissey and Smiths fans that comes from these kind of venues like the Star Garter.
Yeah.
So fantastic to have him on, and thank you, Danny, for joining us.
Thank you, Danny.
So that kind of wraps up this episode of Morrissey and Wine. If you want to catch a little bit more of Chris and George, and I wouldn't blame you if you didn't, we have Chris and George Off Mic, which is a bonus 30-minute episode every month that you can get if you're a Patreon subscriber. If you're interested in the Patreon, you want to just check out the benefits, you'll find the link in the description of this podcast. And of course, full unedited interviews with guests, because this is like a 20-minute version of the interview. There'll be a slightly longer one available for Patreon.
Juicy bits.
The juicy bits. Anything you wanted to say as we round off the episode, Chris?
Thank you again. That's everything, really. I think we've said what we need to say.
And of course, thank you to Gary for setting up this wonderful set. Gary works for Red Eye. Well, it's Gary's own Red Eye Media Studio here in Derby. So that's www.redeye.co.uk. If you have a podcast that you want to take to the next level, I would massively recommend talking to Gary. So that's redeye.co.uk.
And I get a bit of this, yeah.
Yeah, get a little bit of this. But the Morrissey cutout is for this podcast only, right?
You can't use that in your own podcast about whatever else it might be.
Yeah. Or someone else might start a Morrissey podcast and sort of overtake us, and then
it has been patented.
Has it? Okay.
Yeah. This side of the Atlantic, anyway.
Yeah. Thank you very much for joining us. Honestly, we really appreciate it. It's so nice to have so many people watching and listening, and it sounds so cheesy, but I honestly do appreciate every single person that does listen and watch. Every single person.
Do they all get Christmas cards off you?
No. Okay, well, I don't appreciate that
not
much.
Not that much, yeah.
Thank you for watching. Goodbye and Godspeed.
And God bless Morrissey.
And God bless Morrissey. Cheers.
Cheers. It is good wine, isn't it?
Yeah, I really like it.
Because the very interesting was saying it's basically being a snob about. That's why I bought it.